slave. The word shocked fans as Prince appeared in 1995 with it scrawled across his cheek. Why would a superstar who just signed a reportedly up to $100 million Warner Brothers deal brand himself a slave? This wasn't just rebellion, it was bold defiance. The unpronounceable symbol that replaced his name? A strategic move to escape contractual chains, allegedly threatening his $10 million Paisley Park studios. If you don't own your masters, your master owns you, Prince reportedly warned. His battle would forever transform the relationship between artists and record labels, creating a blueprint that Taylor Swift would follow decades later. How did a dream deal become a cage? And how did Prince fight his way to freedom? What Warner Brothers offered Prince in 1992 wasn't the straightforward windfall reported in headlines. The contract's reportedly up to $100 million value was largely structured around escalating advances tied to specific sales benchmarks, benchmarks that grew increasingly difficult to reach in a changing musical landscape. Record contracts are just like, I'm gonna say the word, slavery, Prince reportedly told Rolling Stone in 1996. I would tell any young artist, don't sign. The contract reportedly locked him into delivering 6 more albums. For an artist who once released a double album, a triple album, and 1 standalone album, all within 15 months, the pace would typically mean 6 years under Warner's control. But the constraints went deeper. Every Prince release had to be methodically scheduled by Warner executives to maximize profit, directly conflicting with his prolific creative output. While Prince wanted to release music as soon as it was ready, Warner preferred carefully timed releases with extensive marketing campaigns. The 1991 album Diamonds and Pearls reportedly sold over 2 million copies in the US, but industry insiders noted it didn't trigger the next tier of his advanced structure. Meanwhile, operating costs at his Paisley Park complex, which housed his studios, offices, and performance space, continued regardless of release schedules. The most contentious issue emerged in their marketing control. Warner allegedly held the rights to use the name Prince on all music recordings, effectively controlling his professional identity in his primary career. While he could still call himself Prince in daily life, for the business of music, his life's work, Warner allegedly controlled how his name could be used. If you don't own your masters, your master owns you, Prince reportedly explained in a 1996 interview with NME, crystallizing the heart of the conflict. Around June 7, 1993, his 35th birthday, Prince announced a radical solution to his Warner Brothers constraints. He was abandoning his name for an unpronounceable symbol combining elements of male and female signs. This wasn't merely artistic rebellion. The symbol created a symbolic and strategic distinction between Prince, the recording artist whose name Warner allegedly controlled, and this new unpronounceable identity outside their trademark jurisdiction. While it didn't terminate his contract, only fulfillment could do that, the symbol allowed him to operate in a gray area while still under contract. Prince delivered the news with strategic precision. His publicist reportedly circulated a detailed press kit, including a floppy disk containing a custom font of the symbol, along with instructions on how to reproduce it in print. The message was clear. He would make this work, even if it was inconvenient for everyone involved. Warner Brothers took the name, trademarked it, and used it as the main marketing tool to promote all of the music I wrote, he reportedly explained in a press statement. The company owns the name Prince and all related music marketed under Prince. I became merely a pawn used to produce more money for Warner Brothers.
How do you promote a symbol?
Well, what we found is throughout the world, if you hold this up and show it to people what they think of, they will say Prince.
Can you tell us what it signifies?
Well, me.
No, but I mean how you chose it. You designed it?
It's sort of come about over time, always morphed the female and the male symbol together.
Can you copyright that?
It is copyrighted.
So you can't be ripped off by it?
No.
We've been showing it on the bottom of the screen so that people tune in, they know who we're watching here.
Oh, cool.
There it is. Look at that. See that?
Now, all right.
That's cool,
It's
right?
a class act. This
CNN, man. We don't fool around.
Media outlets struggled with this unprecedented move, eventually settling on the artist formerly known as Prince. This workaround served Prince's purpose perfectly, maintaining his public identity while highlighting the contract dispute with every mention. In business meetings, Prince reportedly brought a tape recorder and refused to speak if anyone called him Prince instead of addressing him by the symbol. This wasn't eccentricity. It was disciplined reinforcement of his position in the dispute. The unpronounceable symbol effectively forced a change in how people discussed, marketed, and engaged with his music. While Warner still controlled his contractual output, the symbol created a distinct identity that prevented them from leveraging his name as effectively. It didn't legally free him, only fulfilling or ending his contract could do that, but it established leverage within the constraints. Prince's secret weapon against Warner wasn't just legal maneuvering, it was his legendary vault at Paisley Park. By 1993, he had reportedly recorded over 500 unreleased songs, essentially stockpiling multiple albums worth of material. This massive catalog gave him an unprecedented tactical advantage. When Warner expected him to deliver fresh hit singles, Prince could selectively pull from vault recordings instead of creating new material specifically for Warner's release schedule. Prince's longtime sound engineer Susan Rogers reportedly later stated, "I joined him in 1983, and when I left in 1987, we had already cataloged over 25 fully completed unreleased albums."
He could start a session with everything set up and routed, just headed to tape. Happy, happy, happy. Sometimes you'd get a phone call saying, here's what he wants set up. Sometimes you'd come to the studio and there'd be a note waiting on the console saying, here's what he wants set up. If it was sunset, he would tell the front desk, tell the engineers, I want this set up. But you come in and try to get as much routed for him, get his bass tuned, get his guitars tuned before handing it to him.
Never hand him an untuned instrument.
Never hand him an untuned instrument so that he could move from one instrument to the other.
For his contractual obligations, Prince reportedly often selected material he considered non-essential. His 1994 album Come illustrated this strategy, reportedly comprised largely of older vault recordings. It peaked at number 15 on the charts, his lowest position for a new studio album in 13 years. Chaos and Disorder followed in 1996, with Prince acknowledging it was created quickly and with minimal effort to fulfill contractual obligations. The album's liner notes reportedly stated it was the last original material recorded by Prince for Warner Brothers.
Well, unfortunately, like I said, music industry isn't being run by musicians, so it's being run by accountants and lawyers. So I don't know if they'd know real music if they heard it. What they're looking for is acts that are going to make the most money for them. So you'll see all kinds of little gimmicks, so to speak. And ultimately, real music is just about a microphone and a spotlight. If you can get over like that and bring the special effects within your body, you know, then I think you're gonna have a lot longer career.
Meanwhile, his live performances featured entirely different songs, fresh material that excited fans but remained unavailable through Warner. The contrast between his uninspired official releases and electrifying concert performances sent a clear message about where his passion truly resided. The vault also reportedly provided financial independence. Prince licensed vault recordings for films like Spike Lee's Girl 6 in 1996, generating revenue streams outside Warner's control. He could simultaneously fulfill his contract with minimal new studio time while focusing his creative energy on material that would benefit him post-Warner. By early 1996, Prince had reportedly delivered all contracted albums, completing what would have typically taken most artists a decade in just 4 years. The final album under Warner, Chaos and Disorder, made his priorities clear with its title alone. The vault had allowed him to accelerate his escape without sacrificing his best material. With his contractual obligations fulfilled and vault unburdened, Prince now had both the freedom and material to reintroduce himself on his own terms.
On December 31st, 1999, my publishing contract with Warner Chappell expired, thus emancipating the name I was given before birth. I will now go back to using my name instead of the symbol I adopted as a means to free myself. The price of CDs have skyrocketed while the quality of music has plummeted. And as long as middlemen create the means by which the consumer consumes, this will never change.
In November 1996, just months after fulfilling his Warner contract, Prince released Emancipation, a 3-hour triple album whose title left no doubt about how he viewed his situation. "This is the record I've always wanted to make," Prince reportedly told the Los Angeles Times. "There was no one leaning over my shoulder saying, 'Where's the single?'"
You'll hear a lot of talk about, will he ever match the success of such and such and such and such? But see, I'm not on that road. I've been in the business 20 years now, and that's a long time. And, I'm still learning. Emancipation is a good indication of that. Some of my harshest critics have said there ain't a bad song on it. Purple Rain and that whole situation, that was a time period. The Beatles are never going to capture what they did in the beginning. If they continue working, if we all continue working and we all continue growing, I think.
Emancipation represented a new business model as much as an artistic statement. Released through EMI, but with Prince reportedly maintaining ownership of the master recordings, it reportedly sold approximately 500,000 copies. While this was fewer units than his Warner-era peaks, Prince reportedly earned more per album sold, an estimated $7 per unit versus the $2 he received under Warner. The album's success validated his conviction that creative independence could be financially viable. For Prince, artistic freedom wasn't abstract. It meant maintaining control over every aspect of his music, from composition to release scheduling to marketing. He followed this with an even more radical approach in 1998, releasing Crystal Ball, a 5-disc collection reportedly sold exclusively through direct order. By requiring fans to pre-order directly from his organization, Prince eliminated traditional retail channels entirely. Approximately 100,000 fans reportedly paid $50 for this collection, generating an estimated $5 million in direct revenue with no label taking a percentage. Though fulfillment issues frustrated some customers, the experiment proved artists could bypass the entire traditional distribution system. In 2001, Prince launched the NPG Music Club, one of the first artist-run subscription services offering exclusive music, concert tickets, and merchandise directly to fans.
If I were an industry executive right now, I would say, well, we've got to do something about this. So tell me about your solution, npgmusic.com.
Well, from our point of view, like I said, we're the artist and also the distributor. So, it's a little different situation. I don't have to sign myself to a label. I don't have to restrict myself only being exclusive to one particular situation. So it's a whole different way of looking at it.
His pioneering use of digital distribution predated industry platforms like iTunes by years. The model of paying $7 for 70 minutes of music is over, he reportedly told Billboard in 2001. "I was the first one to give away music online."
Tell me about the NPG Music Club. How does this work exactly? Right? You get the CDs.
Very well. It works very well.
But you have to order it through.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I couldn't. By dialing up www.npgmusicclub.com, you can get access to brand new music as well as preferred seating at concerts. Also,
Now, how do I become a preferred customer?
Well, you got some preferred money.
While these independent ventures didn't match the commercial peaks of his Warner years, they provided something he valued more: control. Prince reportedly maintained ownership of his masters, directed his marketing, and released music at his preferred pace. For an artist who routinely recorded a song in a single day, this freedom was invaluable. The Emancipation era showed that commercial independence required trade-offs. Without Warner's promotional machine, Prince's albums reached smaller audiences. However, he compensated by creating multiple revenue streams: touring, direct sales, licensing, and subscription services.
I know you haven't always loved the internet. How are you seeing progress right now with all of that?
It's a double-edged sword. You know, a lot of artists aren't getting paid full scale for their art, and the internet, because of downloading and things like that, is kind of like a black hole, and it's hard to audit, it's hard to get accounting, and it's not that it's just about the money, but it's about justice and fairness. And when people say that they love you and they respect you, but at the same time take, 80% of your earnings, then expect you to fix your own communities.
Years passed. As the industry changed, so did Warner. The old guard that had battled Prince was gone, replaced by executives who recognized the value of artist ownership. Prince, always strategic despite his mystical public persona, saw an opportunity, not for compromise, but for resolution. In 2014, after nearly 2 decades of independence, Prince announced a deal that stunned the music world. He was partnering with Warner Brothers again. This wasn't reconciliation with the same regime. The executives who had battled him were long gone. This was Prince negotiating from a position of strength with an entirely different Warner leadership. The landmark agreement reportedly gave Prince something almost unprecedented in the music industry: ownership of his master recordings. Most artists never regain their masters, the original recordings from which all copies are made. But Prince's perseverance had finally paid off. The deal allows him to regain ownership of his catalog, which is something he's been talking about for years, reportedly explained Prince's attorney at the time. This wasn't just symbolic. With his masters reportedly back, Prince controlled how his music lived on. Every stream, every film, every sample now answered to him. It also meant Prince would receive a significantly larger percentage of royalties from his historic catalog. The deal led to the 2017 posthumous release by his estate of the Purple Rain Deluxe Edition, featuring previously unreleased vault recordings. For the first time, his music could be released without compromise. No label edits, no buried tracks, just Prince on his own terms. For younger artists watching this saga unfold, Prince's journey provided a masterclass in artistic control. Taylor Swift, facing her own battle over masters ownership, specifically cited Prince as inspiration. Artists deserve to own their work. I've been very vocal about this. I learned about it from Prince. Swift reportedly told Billboard. He was explaining to all of us about taking ownership of your work.
The need to explain what I'm doing because it's not normal.
Yeah.
Basically, music, I've always wanted to own my own music since I started making my music. And if you probably don't know this, but most of your favorite artists do not own their work. The music industry is,
Prince's impact extended beyond individual artists. Some reports suggest modern contracts increasingly include master ownership provisions or reversion clauses, concepts that seemed radical during Prince's initial fight, but have become negotiating points for artists with leverage. What Prince achieved wasn't just a personal victory, but a fundamental shift in how artists viewed their relationship with labels. The question was no longer simply how much, but who owns what. Prince's battle with Warner wasn't about ego or headlines. It was about ownership of his name, his music, and his future. From the moment he appeared with Slave on his cheek to the day he reportedly got his masters back, every step was a deliberate move against a system designed to trap artists in golden cages. He didn't ask for freedom. He fought for it, on stage, in boardrooms, and behind closed doors most fans never saw. His victory wasn't loud, it was lasting. Because today, when artists fight to own their recordings, they're walking a path Prince carved with brilliance and unmatched defiance. "I kept my end of the bargain," he reportedly said. "Now they've kept theirs. And that's the legacy. Not just songs we still play, but a system he forced to change.